Hey guys, what's going on? In today's video, I want to look at the Alien 3 Dog Alien figure by NECA. I received that in the post yesterday and I thought I'll do a quick unboxing and review video for you guys in which I pose it, kind of like I did with the other figurines, the Alien Queen and the Xenomorph Warrior. You find these videos on my channel. But first of all, let's have a look at the figurine itself and at the packaging before we open it up. I have to say I love how it sits in the box right there. It is just so reminiscent of the whole Alien, I don't know, the HR Giga design. It just speaks so well to this language, how he crosses his arms and how he seems to be in kind of a sleeping position nearly. It's really cool how the tail comes up back here. I think that's great because the other figurines, like, it seems like NECA didn't put that much effort in how they sit in the packaging, while this one just really nails it, I feel, and it starts the story of the dog alien just by how they pose the figure in the package. So that's really great. Looking at the packaging side, big print, looks like an actual picture from Alien 3, but I think it is the figurine. It's a picture of that figurine. On the other side, it's a different picture. Again, it has this kind of, I don't know if you can see it, I mentioned it in the Xenomorph Warrior review, that it has this kind of interlaced finish to it, which is cool. I like that. Nothing on the top, Alien 3 logo right up here. And on the back, again, a picture of the figurine. This is the story of the movie. And then, as they always do, as NECA always does, down here, they have a few other figures. This, to me, looks exactly like the figure we're holding in our hand right now, which is a bit weird because it says also available. You can buy it again, or something like that. I don't know. Then we all know this one. I think that's from the first movie and the figurine of Bishop. I'm not too much into those. I just love the alien design, so I'm only gonna buy alien figurines. On the bottom, you see the guys who worked on it. A few of the team members, the 20th Century Fox logo, the Real Toys logo, the NECA logo, and one more time, the Alien 3 logo. So this figurine has a bit of a funny story to it because just recently I watched Alien 3 again, and in the version that I watched, the alien actually does not come out of a dog. It's actually an ox or like a dead cow that kind of gets impregnated by a facehugger and then brings out this alien. I don't know exactly why they made that decision to change that, because there are a few more changes to the original version that I saw of Alien 3, but I might get into that a bit later. So guys, let's get right to it. Let's open this figurine up and let's have a look. So I'm not going to bother you with me opening it up. I'm just going to cut right here and you will see how it looks once it's posed. Just a little step in between, guys. I just opened the back of this packaging up, and just so you know, it comes with a stand. The stand sits behind the figurine right here. Kind of like the Alien Queen, it also has this piece that I guess will hold up his chest. But let me open all these little wires right here and get the figurine out. Let's see how that will look. So here it is, guys, the Dog Alien by NECA out of the box. It's absolutely beautiful. The first thing that I noticed is the length of the tail is incredible. Actually, I'm not sure I'm supposed to use the stand like this, kind of holding up his groin like that, but that works, you know, it holds him in a nice position. The length of the tail is just incredible. Like, if you just stretch it out, I might need to put the camera back a little bit or move him forward, but you can see it's just absolutely, like, proportionally to his body, it's extremely long, which is cool because that's how I remembered it in the movie. So that is quite nicely reminiscent of Alien 3. I think we can all agree that the movie itself was not the best part out of the series, but nonetheless the idea of the dog alien is quite nice and I enjoyed that. Let's look at some of the detail of it. On the end of his tail, just sticking with the tail here for a second. So on the end of his tail he has this kind of bony blade, if you want, which looks quite cool, but one thing that I noticed is that because it is rubber, it is a bit like flimsy, if that makes sense. And it's not perfectly straight, you know, if you see it from the side, it's a little bit wonky, which is fine, I guess. It's not a deal breaker, but they could have made sure that it's actually straight, because I guess that's what you want it to be. Looking at the alien from the back, you can see these great shoulder blades up there. Just look absolutely fantastic. Again, like the other NECA figures, it does have this very watery, slimy looking finish to it, like a very gloss paint finish, and that just really helps to bring it to life, in my opinion, because it just looks like they are covered in slimy liquid. Turning him around to the front, one thing obviously that is different to the other figures that I reviewed, the Xenomorph Warrior and the Queen, is that it has a translucent dome. You can see through it. In the front it has a little bit of a black, oops, sorry for that, in the front it has a little bit of a black paint job, which is not bad, I guess. You know, I wish, for instance, that like the original Alien figure that NECA did would have this kind of glossy paint finish on its whole dome, but it doesn't. So here you just have the front covered with this black paint job, and then it gets translucent to the back. Let me quickly put up the camera. I want to show you one thing that I noticed. Sorry for the wonky camera movements. I hope that's not too bad. Because I noticed when I took him out of the box, the head kind of sits in a position, but once you move him forward, it's out of control. Like when it hangs in this position, it literally just hangs down, and you can't really position it in any way like that, at least in this position. I don't know why they did that. I assume there's not like a proper ball joint underneath, but when you move him up, you can actually pose him quite well, and now he comes in any position you want him to be. It's just when you put him forward. And I don't know if that's something that only my figure does, or if that's a kind of design intention from NECA. I have no idea. The articulation of the arms is not as good as with the Xenomorph Warrior figure, simply because you can't put the arms up very much. You see that? You have a very limited arm movement towards the vertical angle. You also don't have this kind of angle up here that allows you to spin the arm, like the upper arm in itself. You do not have that. You only have a ball joint here, which is actually quite cool, because I think kind of like in the knee it has two ball joints right here, one here and one here, and that allows you for a lot of movement with the arm. So you can see you can bring the arm in quite a bit and make it like nearly touch the upper arm right there. The hands are cool. Let me just bring in the hands really close so you can get an idea. The hands are absolutely beautiful, and they are quite different from the Xenomorph Warrior figure. They're a bit more bulky, they're bigger, and they have really this kind of violent touch to them. So I love the sculpt and the detail of the hand right here. Same as the Xenomorph Warrior, he has this huge ball joint in the middle of his chest. It's actually a bit higher. I think in the Xenomorph it's a bit more belly button height. Here it's a bit higher. It's the actual chest, and you can spin that around like crazy. Like if you just look at the body, actually, wow, you can actually spin it 360 degrees. I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just a mistake in mine. You see, I'm spinning him. Can I actually, I don't want to break it. You see, he's spinning 360 degrees. That's quite impressive. So that's cool. Into any position you want him to be. The legs, it's kind of a similar story. Let me remove the stand here right now. It's kind of a similar story as with the arms, because he has these kind of blades that sit just along here. The leg movement is quite restrained in terms of like spreading the legs like this. It doesn't really work too well. You don't have a lot of room to play with. So I guess in terms of posing this figure, there's not that much that you can do with it compared to the other NECA figurines. But nonetheless, it's a great figure. The feet have an extra joint because they have more this kind of hoof style as we've seen it in the movie. So same as the Alien Queen, you have double ball joint here that allows you to bring in the legs really far, so you can get him in the kneeing position as he did in the packaging. The ball joint down here doesn't extend that far. It goes all the way back. Obviously it goes straight, but you can't fold him up completely, which makes sense, I guess. And then the feet fold down, so you can form a straight line if you want to, and then form them up. I noticed that underneath the feet he has these holes, which probably would allow you to kind of put him on some kind of plinth or a stand, which I don't have, but that's something that the Alien Xenomorph Warrior, for instance, does not have. He doesn't have the holes in the bottom of his feet. So that's kind of the description of the functionality. Losing a quick word just on the paint job of the figure, and I'm gonna put him probably back on the stand right now just so I can show you some of the detail. Now the paint job is, I think originally it's a black figure, but then they went over it with this kind of brownish tone, which is very reminiscent of the movie. If you've seen Alien 3, you will remember that the whole movie kind of has a brownish, reddish tone to it, and this is just beautifully translated into this figure right here. The paint job is really, really good. I feel it's done with a little bit more love than on my version of the Xenomorph Warrior. Like the detail on the hand here, you can just see it's not just somebody quickly brushed over it, like somebody actually thought about how you can bring out the detail and how you highlight the sculpt of this figure. So I'm really, really happy with the paint job. Also the, oops, sorry for that. Also the choice of color is just great. If you look at the pattern it has here on the leg, right? Just look at that. It has all these kind of small dots on it. So I guess that is some kind of brush effect, but it just really helps to bring it to life and to support the organic shapes that this figure has. So once again, guys, I'm going to bring out my measuring band, to be honest, which I did not prepare, so I might need to look for that. Just a second. All right, I found it. It's right here. And if you remember, if you saw my review of the Xenomorph Warrior. The Xenomorph Warrior figure, which I have right here, I'm going to just put it next to it for comparison, really. The Xenomorph Warrior figure was 9" in body length. I feel that the upper body of the dog alien is slightly longer, like this whole part up here is just ever so slightly longer than in the Xenomorph Warrior back there. But I think the main difference in height he just gains with his legs. So let's take him off the stand and just measure him and see how long or how high this figure actually is. Sorry for all the terrible camera work. I know I'm not doing a very good job with that, but I hope it gives you a little bit of an insight about the figure if you're considering to buy it. So all I'm going to do is measure the body. I'm not going to measure the tail because that would be unfair since his tail is like gigantic. And you can see he is just above 10 inches from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, and I didn't even extend the feet like to its max, so just above 10 inches, while the Xenomorph Warrior figure is about 9 inches. So this figure is big. It is really, really big and skinny and long, and I feel that just really helps to bring it to life. However, I feel after watching Alien 3 just recently that the figure in the movie, like the actual alien, was not that big. It felt more like, I mean, a dog, right? It was running around on the ceilings, it was running around on the walls, and it was a rather small alien as I remember it, but I might be wrong. So it's not something that I would complain about. Obviously, I'm happy that they designed this figure to that size with all that lovely, lovely detail on it. So guys, before I bring this review to an end, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about some of the details that I forgot to mention earlier. For instance, the articulation of the hand. It's not something that is very different in all the NECA figures. It kind of follows a standard pattern. You can spin it around 360 degrees and angle it up and down, which I always feel really helps to bring it to life. I love when he kind of puts his, I love it both ways, when you put his hand down and it kind of just hangs in this position, or when you put it up and he's kind of in an attack or defense mode. I think both of them look really good. Speaking quickly a little bit more about the translucent dome, I love how you can see through this. I don't know about you guys, but I never felt that the heads of the aliens in any of the movies were that translucent that you can actually see through them. However, I think it's a quite nice, maybe an interpretation of NECA of this figurine, so I guess it's justified, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, especially kind of the bony detail underneath just looks absolutely great. The jar can be opened and closed. That is something I didn't mention before, so I'm going to quickly open it to the max. That is the maximum width you can open it. The inner jar comes in and out, but mine, as you can see here, doesn't stay inside. It kind of comes out all the time, at least when you put the head down. Obviously If you would put the head up a bit more, it might stay in position like this. That's fine. But that's just a little bit flimsy, but I guess with the price that you pay for these NECA figures, it is absolutely okay. You can close the jar. Let me just show you how that looks. And that looks, again, so cool. I mean, just look at the detail of the closed jar. Just how that looks is just, in my opinion, absolutely perfect. It looks slimy, it looks organic, just like you would expect it from a figure like this. So guys, my overall verdict of this figure is it's absolutely great. It's giant, it's big, it's reminiscent of the movie. The sculpt is absolutely perfect. It has a few of these kind of flimsy downsides, like the wobbly movement of the head. But since you can lock it in position and you can pose it to a certain extent, I think it's absolutely fine. It's no problem. It is slightly bigger than the Xenomorph Warrior figure you see in the background, and it's just so much fun to look at these two figures together and compare all the tiny detail on each one of them. So I guess this concludes my review of the Dog Alien figure. If you have any questions to the figure, if you consider buying it and you want to know something in particular, then just let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video or it helped you, then just leave me a like. That would be very much appreciated. You can subscribe to my channel. I think this is going to be, for a long time, the last toy review that I'm doing. I'm more doing video game content, let's plays and commentaries and things like that. So if you're into that kind of stuff, then feel free to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned, guys, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye.